Hi, parents. Welcome back to our final parent workshop of this series. My name, again, is Steve. I'm the Executive Director of Imagination Theater. This is my
Hello, everyone. I'm Demi. I'm the Artistic Director.
And as we've been doing for the previous 3 weeks, tonight we just want to kind of give you one brief overview of the entire 4 weeks of what each group was doing. We encourage you to sign up again for our next sessions, which start next week. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the very end. And Demi will also lead us through one quick self-care exercise this evening that hopefully you find very useful in doing a little self-care every week. So Demi, can you kind of give us a quick overview of what the kids have learned, and maybe also in addition talk about maybe where these classes may go for the next 4 weeks, so that, because I know that some people were confused that the titles are the same and if it's the same thing. So could you share with us a little bit of that?
Yeah, definitely. I helped create the curriculum for both camps. It was the teacher for the pre-K to second graders, but for that group, it's called Play and Pretend. If your students were a part of that, you could probably see how much fun we were having. So it was a lot of imagination-based games, getting used to trying on different characters briefly or just playing pretend, even with different variables of like our 5 senses. So getting used to pretending there was different temperature, we were different people or different animals, and we would do different exercises. We also did a little bit of mindfulness. I taught them to swallow a bubble, is what I call it with the younger students, where they take a deep breath and go like this, and they let it go. And we did a lot of dancing and just exploration of our bodies. It's important to stay physical, especially since pre-K to second graders do best when learning through movement a lot of the time. So we kept those workshops very active. And then for the characters and creation workshop, the 3rd to 6th grade, Cosmo and Rose were the teachers for that. And they did a lot more character exploration, but really diving into what is a character and why would your character say that? And how would your character move? So there was bigger questions that the students could get to answer. And a game we did for both workshops actually this last week was a quick physical game called Hey Everybody Let's, where we would ask our students to, for my group, I said, what's your favorite physical activity outside or something fun to do over the summer? And then someone could say, hey, I like to swim. So it's a, hey, everybody, let's go swimming. We'd all pretend to swim. So it's a really easy game you can do with any number of people. It can be done with any ages, and it's very simple. So that was a quick game if you wanted to share it with your family and your kids. Steve,
Cool.
Did you want to add on to anything?
No, that's great. I was just curious if you could share a little bit about like how we're going to be growing in the next 4
Oh, right.
What are some of the things that we're going to be working on coming up that would build on the skills that the students have been working on these past 4 weeks?
Definitely. So if your student would like to continue, we'd love to have them. There will be a lot similar games for sure, and some games that will just be repeated, but we're going to keep building on, for the older students, creating characters. That's the main focus. I mean, it's called characters and creation, but we're going to do a lot of different types of characters and even talk about like different people they could play in real life. So we have a character interview game that we get to do with them, where like they get to pretend to be that person and maybe the rest of the students don't know, and then they answer questions like that person without giving it away. So that's a fun game. And then for the youngest students, the pre-K to second graders, my group, we're going to stay focused on physical games as well as keep focus, because that can be really hard for when you're 4 or 5 or 6 years old. So there are times to share, and there's a time to listen, and there's a time to play, and then there's a time to sit, right? So we're going to keep building off of those with different theater games, and some of course will be the same like in the older group, and then some games will be new. So if your student is interested and they just did camp this last 4 weeks, please have them continue to sign up, because it will be new instructors even. as well as new exercises, new activities, and new students. And they ultimately learn from each other too, not just us as the instructors.
Great. So as we do every week, Demi, who has been leading us through some really helpful breathing exercises and meditation exercises, will do one last one for us this week, just to give ourselves a little bit of self-care.
Because it is so important. We've also been doing mindfulness with the 3rd to 6th graders. I know I mentioned swallow a bubble, but we've been doing emotional check-ins with every group. It's super important to check in with yourself. And especially as the adult or as the caretaker or a parent or whoever you are in that child's life, it can be easy to forget to take care of yourself when you are taking care of other people and other things around you. So just take a couple moments and, like always, sit up nice and tall, or if you're laying down, find a nice tall spine. Start to close your eyes or maybe just stare off at something that's not moving in front of you. And focus on your breath. And you can even bring one hand to your heart and the other to your belly this evening for a little bit of inventory. As you start to breathe, just checking in with how is the breath feeling today? What is going on in your mind? And we talk about this idea of being mindful. Oftentimes people think that when they meditate or try to clear their head, they have to absolutely be still and silent and not think of anything. That's very difficult to do. That takes tons of practice. So instead, I want you to just meet yourself where you're at. Whatever thoughts are popping into your head, let them happen. Trying not to attach to any of those thoughts, just simply let them pop in and just as easily let them leave. If you break down the word mindful, it means filling your mind. But what do we choose to fill our minds with? So thinking of something, cultivate something right now that you would like to achieve for yourself. Despite the fact that you might take care of others or do for others, what would you like to get out of your breath right now? Maybe it's a little bit of peace. Maybe it's a bit of calm, a sense of clarity. Think of that thing, the first thing that pops into your head, be okay with it, and then accept that you can allow it to happen. Take a slow, steady, deep breath in all the way, whatever pattern of breath you're on, and then a longer exhale. There's just one more thought I'd like to leave you with, since this is our last class. As you are the busy parent and you are the caretaker, we often have to-do lists, which is why we neglect ourselves or forget to take care of ourselves. But Steve, have you ever heard of the to-do list?
Sorry.
You heard of that phrase? That's okay, I didn't give you enough notice. Have you heard of a to-do list?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, it's just this idea. I don't know who coined the phrase, but I want you, with your eyes open or closed, just to think of something today, going through the list, instead of all the things you have to continue to do, think of all the things you've already done. That's your to-do list. Because so easily we get focused, we fixate on, oh, I still have to go to the store, or I have the groceries, I have to pick up so-and-so, or I have to do laundry, and the list never ends. But we often forget to look back on the things we've done successfully, because those things matter. But we sweep things under the rug so easily because we keep focusing on what's ahead instead of what's happening right now.
It's weird that you say that, because I have heard of that, but I've never heard it called that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was the first time I'd actually heard it called. Did you say to-do list?
Like the to-do list, yeah. Instead of your to-do list, it's your to-do list.
I'm done.
Ta-da! Look how many things. I mean, think about from the time you woke up to now, how much you've done, right?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot done today.
But it's easy to go to bed and think of, oh, I have to do this tomorrow, or I have to, all these chores and errands to run.
Right. Well, I feel accomplished today.
Yeah, you should though. Mindful, right? Filling our mind with positives.
Well, thank you, Demi, and thank you,
You're welcome.
parents, for joining us virtually for these last 4 weeks. We hope that you've gotten something out of these sessions. We are really hopeful that you decide to sign up again for the next 4 weeks. It does start really quickly. It is a continuation, really, so it starts right away next week. So it'll go until through the first week of August. So if you're interested, I will make sure that in this email that I send this video with, I will resend the link to the registration form, and I will follow up with payment later if once we know if the classes are going or not. And then I am also going to reattach our feedback form so that hopefully you take just a minute or two, give us some thoughts and feedback on how you thought the classes went, because we are building on these ourselves, and offering online classes is new for everybody pretty much in the theater community, including us. So we're learning as we go in terms of what's working well virtually and what we can improve on. So please let us know what you think. And thank you for sharing your kids with us this last couple of weeks. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, parents.
Bye-bye.
Bye.